the recording on that computer. Okay, well, it's just Brooke and I, but hopefully everyone will get to see this. So Brooke and I were just talking about kind of following up on the shoot and how everything went. You know, a couple of things that I know I would like to do different, and that's not have the stress of, we had a lot of stress behind the scenes of with models that we had a young couple that was supposed to be there. And I think they maybe just probably got a little bit overwhelmed and such. And, but I do, you know, her mom did a good job. So, you know, there is one thing that I'll say, Brooke, and it's kind of following up what you said. And I think you're right. And I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a real prominent photographer. He and his wife shoot a lot of boudoir, and he's very, very outspoken in the industry, and he does amazing, beautiful work, and he should be proud and celebrate it. And he teaches a lot of workshop, but every image he posts is a model. You know, it's a beautiful model. It's a size 2, you know, perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect dress, in the perfect location, and, you know, with the perfect backdrops, which is stuff we never get to see as photographers, right? I mean, you know, the only time you get that scenario is just when you're at a workshop that you're getting a paid professional model or someone that has experience modeling. And I can tell you, it is night and day. I've shot with a model. I actually assisted with a photographer. You can Google him, John Wheelage, and I watched the model work. And that's when my opinion of models actually changed. I think autos, oh, well, there's a pretty girl. Anybody can take a picture of a pretty girl. But gosh, when you watch a model that knows what she's doing, that's been trained, it is unbelievable what she will give you. It's phenomenal. Or he, I shouldn't just say she, because it's the same thing. They just know how to pose and the angles, and that if anything, it's just the confidence that they have. And I think that's so we'll talk about that. That's the thing that I know that is really, really important, that we have to give to the models. And in a big workshop with everyone there watching and everything, it's really hard to do that. But in our one-on-one sessions, you know, we just finished a senior that we got, one of our best senior orders probably we've ever had. It was over $5,000. And so sometimes it's best when mom and dad are divorced, because dad wants an album and mom wants an album, and then they each get albums for grandparents. And so that was kind of an unusual deal. But that session started off with the young guy, and it started off really slow. And so one of the things that I do when I know I've got a couple hours and I'm the only one with the camera, I start off with poses that I really don't care if I get anything. I just get him in front of the camera and get him moving and see how the feedback, and I'm working up to the shot that I know I want. You know, it's harder to do that in a workshop, because you're trying to get good stuff right away, so that I can just show y'all what we're getting, and then everyone can take their turn and shoot and everything. But I would say, think about that what you want to do is you want to be building that confidence early on in your subjects, especially if they're not a size 2. That's real important, to build that confidence so that you can end up getting some good stuff from them. And so when we were talking about it was your cousin that was in the red dress.
It's like a second cousin.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, she wasn't real confident in that dress, and some of that maybe that's just not her style. I don't know. I'm going to guess that, you know, she's not out wearing that kind of dress all the time, or it's not something that she's really excited about. But you could tell her friend was excited about it and loved being in the dress and loved being all of that. So that's probably more her cup of tea. So, you know, my advice obviously would, had we had an opportunity to photograph her one-on-one and figured out how to communicate to her, because we weren't having, I noticed the whole time I was communicating with her, she wasn't understanding what I was asking for. Even though her friend could see it, she wasn't understanding it. And so in that situation, there's not a whole lot you can do, in my opinion, when you've got someone who is modeling in that situation. They got all those eyes on them for them to really give you what they want. So you've got to start a lot simpler. She actually did better. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Did that share my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So I noticed, here is where she really struggled,
Yeah.
her friend did pretty good. Her friend kind of did the same pose over and over.
Yeah.
But some of that was just, there's 8 or 9 of us and we're trying to get shots and everything. And so it's a little bit more of a challenge, but she did good here. The thing I wished is, the light had been coming from a different direction so that we didn't get this reflection on the plane. But I thought she looked really good here.
Yeah.
This will edit real well. If we can do something to tone this down, and I don't believe I've got a shot in here anywhere where we don't have that. So I'd be curious what other shots anyone got of her. But I think when we got her outside of, trying to pose with her friends, she looked really good here.
I think I have one from a different angle where there's
yeah,
not.
this one's a little bit better here where it's not all blown out. But I think this could be done up. Maybe we take the doorway out. We take out this stuff here for the plane using the remove tool. And then we do a sky swap in Photoshop, make it more of a dynamic shot. I think this has really good potential to be a really pretty image. I like that, or one of these probably more than I did, the shots that were over her with her out here. I just think she flagged a couple. So here, I'll just show you all the ones I flagged. These are some of the images that I flagged real quick that I thought, okay, well, I may want to tinker with these. That dress didn't fit her good in the upper body. So, we would need to work on some of this area here. But these were some of the ones that, these are all pretty much straight from the camera. Let me move this. I don't even know why I've got a timer on here. Hang on just a second. I don't know. Could you see that big timer when it came up there, Brooke?
No.
Okay. I didn't know what it's showing and what it's not showing, so we'll talk about, as I've gone through here and I've picked some of my favorites. I'll just kind of show you what I basically do in Lightroom. What I'm going to do is show you first, hey, if we were getting ready to show these to a client, what would we do versus a full-on edit? So really what I'm trying to do is just kind of balance out the image. This room here, we probably shouldn't have started in that room. That was a tough room to shoot in, to get the lights the right way and everything. So this one would be, I would play with a lot. And my goal on this image would be to really get it to be a lot more of a vintage look going on, and this one would take a lot of what I would call tinkering to get there. These here, I think these are good client images. I would recover the highlights, open the shadows, a lot of the same things that I do in my Santa stuff. The only thing I wish she had a better resting expression. She struggled with and a lot of people do. A lot of people struggle with that look where you're, what I'm trying to do in this versus a smile is trying to really get the eyes to pop is my goal. And I'm not even sure that image is sharp. It's probably sharp enough. But she looked great. I mean, she looked great in that dress. I mean, here's a really nice shot. I think she would really like this one. I'm going to recover some highlights, open up some shadows, play with this. I'm going to straighten it. This is what I kind of do going in if I'm going to show these images to a client. Try to get her a little bit more centered, just to kind of get them ready, so to speak. Same thing here. I'm gonna recover some highlights, open up the shadows a little bit. Right. I'm not adding. I used to add some texture and clarity to kind of give it more pop in Lightroom. I don't do that anymore because the noise reduction is so good that I then add that later. So I would tell y'all, if you're adding clarity and contrast or clarity and texture, do that in Camera Raw. Don't do it in Lightroom because it's going to make the skin look better when you do it later. So you're not having to deal with something like that in Photoshop once you start getting in there and editing. Looks like I got a little bit of softness in that one, so I may sharpen. I hardly ever sharpen here, but I would probably sharpen this one up just a little bit. Where's my sharpening tool? There we go. Just bring that up a little bit. Okay. So these are some of my favorites. Like you said, I might even, a lot of times I will just look and see if one of my Magic of Santa presets work because it kind of does the same thing. It opens up the highlights and the shadows. Just got to double check the clarity so we're not really adding much of that, maybe a little bit. I think we can get his eyes to look really good.
Mhm.
And then I felt like, come on, go camera. This was a pretty good one here. You know, we'll need to touch her skin up, obviously that kind of stuff. I even thought maybe doing a sky replacement on this one, take out this plane here, try to get a sky that's a little bit more dramatic, more like one of these skies. And we can find those all day long, kind of a dramatic sunset. This would look a lot better. So these are a few of my favorites. In this one, when I'm editing, I shot this knowing I felt like we were running out of time, so I didn't have time to move the plane. So I said, that's fine, because with the remove tool and stuff in Photoshop, I think we can remove this plane and this hanger. And obviously this stuff here is easy to remove. I think if we remove that and then a crop on this one that I think will look cool. Let me see. I can't believe I don't have in here. Let me see if I can put in a custom crop. Unlock this. Let's see. Yeah, I would love to see something like this one edited, maybe in a 2.5 to 1.
Why?
Something,
Because of the panoramic.
yeah, something more like this. I think that would look really cool in the studio, especially if we could even get out. I mean, I don't totally dislike that sky, but I think we could get a really cool sky in here. And I would play with this one, you know, even maybe making a black and white or something might be kind of cool. We'll just see. But I think if we get a really dramatic sky and put in here, we remove this. This could be a cool shot. And maybe the crop, maybe we go 2 to 1 instead of 2.5. Then that would get her more in that third. But something along those lines, I really kind of like that, having that space where it leads into here. You know, so that's one we could play with it. And I would come in and touch up all of this concrete, try to make it more even. And then even the same thing here, I would probably do that same crop. Where's my, let me unlock it. I'm going to go over here to custom. I don't know if y'all do any of this. There's a 2.5 to 1 crop. That's not going to work. So let's go to here, enter, let's go to 2 to 1. And let's expand this. I think this would probably be a pretty cool shot. And he would love to have this right here.
Why are you cropping it in Lightroom versus in?
Well, I'm just cropping it to see if I like it.
Okay.
And then the other thing is since I'm gonna have the raw file, I would crop it here to maybe show the client what it would look like cropped like this.
But if you were retouching, you would retouch the full file and then crop it?
It just depends, you know. I don't know that I would, you know, I kind of go back and forth on that sometimes. There's not a, I mean, it's probably smarter just to edit it with the full crop and then crop it later. So when Lori, for example, when I'm doing a sales session and Lori does a session, I'll give her the image cropped. But then usually when I go back and get the files, I actually go back to the raw files and re-export them a lot of times. And then that gives me the full size file, if that makes sense. So I don't know that there's any reason to show them the uncropped version of this, but clients have a hard time visualizing a cropped image. So I don't hesitate to show them a cropped image, you know. So anyway, this one here, you know, is going to need a lot of the highlights recovered. And I don't even know that we can get there. I hate that the way they had that plane position. That was to me, that was the most beautiful plane that was there. I love that plane.
Yeah.
But you know, who knows? So anyway, so then we get into these. I really like these. This is a cool, I think editing this and taking her out, this could potentially be a really good backdrop to have to do some theme sessions with. So these were my favorites in here. This was probably my most favorite. I've got it 5-starred. And that's pretty much straight from the camera. Let me see if there's anything done to that. No, that is straight from the camera. They're a little offset in this one. It doesn't bother me a whole lot. I think we recentered them in some of the other ones, like here. Let me show you. I don't know if y'all do this or not, but let me come down here and show you. I turn on the lens corrections so it knows what camera, so it'll fix anything. then a lot of times I'll use the transforms to do this, and I'll show you really where, let me reset this image, and I'll show you where that really comes into play. And you can, especially with the new generative fill. So I think these can be pretty cool. And when I'm editing these kind of images, I don't go into it with necessarily a very specific of what I'm going to do. So I'll go in and something like this is just play with it. I'll play with some, some color grading and some things like that. So I'm just hitting the auto button here in the transformation. So if we look at this one is where I really like this. This one I could see taking a lot of time to edit. So when I hit the auto button on this, you see I shot this from a low angle. And so now when I go into here, we can take this and either we can crop it in to where we pull it into here. And this, I don't dislike this at all. I think that could be kind of cool. Touch some of that up. But on the flip side, I also really kind of like some of this architecture over here that's going on, showing the columns over here, this concrete. So I would bring this into Photoshop and try the generative fill and see if it will fill this here. That might be something we can do. And we can use the remove tool to take this out. And then what I would do is I would take these windows, like this window here, and replace each one of these so that it's all dark. And then I would definitely come in here with a sky replacement and see what we can do with that. But I think this has some pretty good potential to be a kind of a pretty cool image. So, and sometimes I'll just play around with it like this just to see what it's doing, getting crazy with some sliders. All right, so but I would probably go ahead and, because I haven't found a tool in Photoshop that's better than Lightroom when it comes to fixing the architecture and stuff like that. And I didn't really feel like it messed with her too much. You can see the difference here. I don't feel like it distorted her. And let's talk about her for a second. I can tell you where I will have a lot of trouble with her. I don't remember what the condition she has, what it's called. Do you, Brooke?
I didn't know she had a condition. No.
Yeah, so she's got the same thing that Lori's mom has. So she loses circulation really easy. And so she won't do well in cold environments. And if y'all, let's see if it's in any of these, her arm started changing. I don't know if you saw the color change going on in her arm when she was sitting around because it got touched. This arm really changed colors. Let's see if I've got more images of her. And maybe it was the second day. Here it looks okay. But we noticed it and Heidi mentioned it that she had a condition.
Okay.
So what I'll have to, so something like that, I'm not seeing it real evident here, but it was very evident when we were shooting that her arm was changing colors. And I think the dress was too tight. This part of the dress, let's see if I can do this. Oh, yep, can't do that. That shortcut closes Lightroom. That's the one that highlights my mouse. I picked the wrong shortcut code to do that. But I did remember seeing in a lot of the images where her arm was changing colors. So, but I think some of these could be pretty cool. So let's go back to here. And then we've got Mary and Rob here. And this is a good one to do because I think there's a lot of potential for mature clients that kids have moved out for them to do themed portraits and things like that. So Mary was tough to pose as well. You would think that we probably should have got a few more of her standing.
I was just going to ask because as a woman, like how she's sitting, that stomach area is not flattering to her at all. And we had her sitting for a majority. So
yeah,
would you Photoshop, like what would you do in that?
Well, I would go in and dodge and burn and just try to smooth that out. Just try to fix the pattern there and play with it until I got it to where it looked good. I bet with the remove tool and stuff, we probably should have gotten them more like this.
Yeah.
And in a normal session, that's the thing when you're teaching a workshop, it's hard to look at all those little things that you're seeing, in your camera, especially when your camera's so small. But in a normal session, you're not going to just get one or two poses of them. You're going to get, I don't know, 40. If I was there doing a session with them, I would have shot them for an hour, and we would have had them in all different kind of poses and such. So, and we probably should have done a little bit more of that. I thought, and it's very possible, because I do know that during when they were shot, I wasn't shooting Mary and Rob when they were in front of this area here. So I don't know what poses were gotten here as we were.
She was sitting for a majority of them, except for that last one where you had her standing kind of behind him.
Oh yeah, yes, I know which one you're talking about there. That was, let me go here. So let's see.
It was the close up of their faces.
Right. Yeah, it's here somewhere. I saw them. I haven't gone through those yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, those ones.
Yeah, and I think these will be kind of cool to edit once we get to mess with them. But you're right. We probably should have had her standing more. It would have been a lot more flattering for her.
I was just curious if you'd done that on purpose, or if that was just kind of like, again, as my perspective, I felt like the airport hangar was way more relaxed, and I felt like it was easier to get feedback from you in that environment versus the Union Station. Because
yeah, no, I don't disagree. The Union Station just started off tough.
Yeah.
In that room, it did start off tough, and we had equipment challenges and getting the lights to work and all that kind of stuff. So it never fails. You shoot all the time on stuff, and you don't have any trouble, and all of a sudden you get on location and things go wrong, and then it kind of magnifies it when you've got all the eyeballs on you and everything. So,
yep.
Anyway, like I said, we all learn, but I like these. I thought these turned out great.
Yeah.
The clothing that Mary picked also, I think this brings up a good point. I like the style. I don't like that pattern.
Yeah.
So I would say that this is a good example where I would encourage, if you've got someone that's a little more mature and isn't a size 2, I wouldn't encourage them to wear busy patterns, because that makes it harder to edit as well. Because if she was wearing the red dress sitting here, this would be a very, very simple fix.
Yeah.
But I really think that what we can do is we can just do a continuation of this pattern here. Okay. And that'll take out this line, and we can do the continuation of the patterns. That's what I would work on. In fact, once I'll probably work on that one-on-one or by myself to show you guys. And then I'll come back, and once I figure out exactly how I'll do it, I'll just make a little video, or we'll do a little one-on-one and go, okay, let me show you how we would fix this. And then I'll go in and play with this. I don't want to do it while we're sitting here watching and doing everything, because I may try 5 or 6 different techniques to figure out which one I like better. So what I think I would like to do for now is take one of these images, or is there one that you would prefer to see? Or Brooke, since it's just you,
can you do one of the plane with the sky? Because that's the one I guess I'm most excited about. I don't care which model, but just like the plane shoot out there.
Yeah. So why don't I take this one then? So let's see. Okay, let's click some of these things. That's weird that those aren't fixed right. Now that looked like that just, that's definitely not right. Every now and then it gets it wrong. Okay, so that's fine. So let's just take the crop back to, let's go to a shot. That's funny that the way that's trying to straighten that. I don't know what it's probably pulling off this building back here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so let me turn that off. Okay. Well, that is just weird, isn't it?
That is crazy.
What are you doing, Lightroom? I guarantee it's going off that building. So it's weird on location. I'm not as, I don't go into the editing as deliberate, I guess. So if I'm doing something like this, and let's just say we're doing this for a portfolio, right? So I approach this as, okay, well, I'll go into it for the first, what I would say, hour, kind of just playing around. So let's see. That's not what I wanted. Wrong folder. There we go. Come on. Why did you put those there? All right, hang on just a second, bro. Let me go back into Finder, and for some reason it put those files in the wrong spot. Then I think you have to decide, as you're playing around with this, is, what is it that you want to do? There's come on.
Well, and I think there's two sides to that. I think, like, for me, like, I know you spend hours on one image, and that, to me, I'm not doing competition pieces. I'm doing
Correct.
pieces for a client that's buying, 30 images. So I'm looking for a quick, fast workflow of things that can improve and make it, in my perspective. And I think that when you spend 2 to 3 hours, it's magnificent, but I don't always have that.
Okay, good. Then let's take that approach with this image. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it in Bridge. Then I would show you, if I was doing this just for a traditional senior session, they didn't pay for a fine art version of this image or anything like that, right?
So fine art image is more of an upsell in your senior sessions, is what you're
correct. Yeah. If I'm just, it's weird. And I don't know that it's a good thing or a bad thing. I was talking with Lori about this last night. I've kind of quit trying to do senior sessions. Not really quit. I'm just not pursuing them. And I told her, I said, I think that's a mistake. I probably need to just say, hey, we're back to doing senior. We're excited. We have, and I'm saying this with you because you're a student and you're someone who's our inner circle. I've spent almost 3.5 years rebuilding my style that I edit. And I did that under Richard, and I had a goal that I wanted to do the fine art, simple, beautiful images in studio, really work on my lighting techniques, really work on my editing techniques. And I wanted to create images that weren't these 60-hour composites to get, I don't know that attention is the right word, but produce images that I felt were really, really at the top in the industry, if that makes sense. And I just I wanted to do something very, very simple, kind of like the fine art children stuff that I've been doing. And so I've kind of gotten away from editing images like this. And the good thing, though, is with the processes and things that I do now, we sold those images to, and I wish I knew the file names. Lori will be in a little bit, maybe before we're done. Yeah, she should be. And I can see if she posted the file names that we sold. And I could even show you the editing on those. But I really feel now just to do your traditional edits, it's like a breeze. It's just really, really fast. But some of it is going down that road. I think what we've got to do is we've got to make sure we're using the latest tools that are available to us. So are you using the beta version of Photoshop?
I'm not. See that, and that's the thing, is I'm so stuck in my workflow. I'm scared.
No, you've got to use, you got to use the beta.
But you know how it is when you get in busy season, and if you change something, it like totally throws you off. And that's why I guess I want to watch your workflow, is because I want to see what it is that you do to each image that you're delivering. And that's the thing, is for me right now, I'm not doing any fine art pieces, which I do want to learn, and I want to know that. But I want to know, when you look at an image like this, what do you feel like it needs? Like,
so when I'm
like, I don't know what they need.
Okay, so when I look at an image like this, the first thing that I'm looking at is what areas are, what in the image is taking me away from the subject or not complementing the subject. So let me just put a blank layer right here. And I'll show you the things that I feel like I have to go into and fix. Okay, let me get a brush and let me get the right brush here. Okay. So what I'm looking at is areas that I don't like, and then we'll just see. So I don't like the brightness here. I don't like the brightness here. I don't like the oil stains. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like any of this. I don't like that plane back there. I'm borderline on the things that are going on back here with the airport stuff. And even though I like the sky, I think the sky could be better. The other things that I don't like, you know, I want to come in here and I want to get rid of some of the shine. You know, we're going to need to work on this over here where these weird shadows and stuff are going on. You know, not sure what's going on there. And I wonder, let me look at something in Lightroom, because what I may have done is turned up the noise reduction too much, thinking that I'm going to do, yes. So somehow that noise reduction got turned up to like 100%. That's weird. Okay. So now let's do another. I'm going to do this. I'm going to re-export that. Okay.
Okay.
As you can see, her face looks weird, right?
Yeah.
It looks, I don't know, it just looks funky. All right. So let's see. Let's come in here. And a lot of what we were dealing with there is, especially on outdoor locations, is in my mind, you almost have to overwrite that. You almost got to do the lighting a little bit more flat, just because you've got these little bitty lights. It's hard to carry big soft boxes. You're just going to run into challenges with lighting and things like that. It's just what happens. So now let's see, let's go back here to bridge. And let's see if this looks any better. Yeah, that looks better on her face. It doesn't look, I mean, it still looks a little bit wonky. But so what I'm going to try, what I would try first is let's go back here and so I'm going to save her skin for last. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm always going to do that. And then I'm going to come up here to the remove tool. Okay. All right. And so I think it's important to note, if you use Photoshop beta, that doesn't mean that you get rid of your other. If you look here, I've got Photoshop 2022, 2023, and beta, right?
Okay,
So,
I thought it replaced it.
No, so when you go to the beta, install it, but I don't, and I'm pretty sure, let's see. So you've got to come over here. So you've got all your apps here, right? And so I've got, looks like all of mine are up to date. But then if I scroll down here on the left, it's got beta apps, right? And it's got an update that's available. So I'm just going to click on this to see what it says. So it's got some cool new features, right? We need to update camera raw. So those are just a couple of things that I need to update. It's weird. I didn't know that there was a beta version of camera raw, but that's okay. Well, I guess these are just updates. Let me go back to my beta apps. Okay. Yeah. So there's some other of it. So what you can install this, and you can install any of these Bridge. So I've not tried the new beta version of Bridge yet. But I will work in both versions of Photoshop. So now I've got the remove tool. So just watch how fast this does this. So I would tell you, Brooke, to when we're done today, why don't you just, or while we're sitting here, why don't you just go ahead and have beta being downloaded in the background if you're not on your, if you're on your computer where you can do that. So now let's see here what we can do. So now let me go to window. I'm going to turn my contextual. If you don't see right now, there's nothing on the screen but the image. Okay. Because I turned the contextual, it's not contextual taskbar off. So I'm going to turn it on. It's a little bit of there's a deal I read where you can pin this, and I'm not sure how to pin it. Oh, pin bar position. Okay, so maybe, come on. Let me see if I can do that. I was reading somewhere. Come on. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. So I'm going to put it up here and I'm going to see if it will let me pin it there. Good. So now maybe it'll, because it moves around. That's the only thing. So okay, so I like that. I like where it is now. So that's something that has driven me crazy because it would move into all these different places. All right. So we've got some pretty cool things here. So let's go here. I'm going to go to the lasso tool. All right. And now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to circle this. And then I'm just going to click generative fill. And I'm going to generate. And I didn't tell it to do anything. Let's just see what it does. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Did you see? No,
Yeah.
I don't need any videos here. Stop. Okay, continue to videos. Okay, now thank you. Okay, so as you can see, I don't know why it put a launch pad there. Okay, but the first thing you want to do is get it out of there. Now, if you don't like what it just did there, you can click generate again. And let's see what it does. See, it'll add more. Okay, so it put more stuff in there. Ooh, I like that one better even than the other one, right? I like this one better because it kind of continues this theme along the horizon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. That's great. So,
But with the beta and the generative fill, are you allowed to use it for?
we're talking about we're not talking about competition. This
Okay,
is
but for everyday client work,
absolutely, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And what you're going to find, and I study this stuff a lot. What you're going to find is I'm 90% certain that any lawsuits against this AI stuff is going to fail because they're not truly understanding. They're not understanding how AI works. There's a thing called fair use. When AI data set looks at a copyrighted book, for example, and it learns from it, and then let's just say you go in and it doesn't look at one book; it looks at everything that's out there. These computers are unbelievably fast, so it reads billions and billions of text. So when it reads it, and then when I type in something like I don't know, in the style of Thomas Kincaid, or when I'm trying to create a marketing plan, it's not going to something specific and saying, okay, well, I'm going to take a marketing plan from chapter 2 of this book that was written, and I'm just going to give you that. It's learning like you and I learn. It's intelligent. And so it studies everything, and then that based on everything that it's read and its reasoning, it understands what you're looking for. And it's not always right. If I was coming up with a deal of where I was going to try to create some daily content on this day in photography. And I said, hey, give me 3 unique things in the history of photography that happened on this day. And one of them, it says, oh, well, this was the day that Kodak got its copyright and for film or something. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. So I posted it. I went, wait a minute, I need to check on that. And it wasn't the date. That was not the date. It got it wrong. So you need to double check that. But it's not looking at something and then giving you that. It's learning everything. Then once it learns everything, then it uses its reasoning to give you a reply or give you an answer. And I think it's going to be pretty easy for the people that have created AI to show that it's not copywriting anything. So like Sarah Silverman is one of the big ones that's suing, and she's saying how that AI read her book online or whatever. And it's going to be probably completely impossible for her to show an example of where her book is an exact phrasing or whatever is being used in someone's using it and they got it from her book. So anyway, but yes, you can right now you can completely use this. And the other thing, while you're in Photoshop only uses Adobe stock images for its AI. So the data
Okay.
set it's using strictly from Adobe, and it has the copyright to do that. So even if I'm completely wrong and AI wins, nothing will change within Photoshop, because Photoshop is using Firefly, which Firefly uses the Adobe stock images as its data set.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to take out this other little plane. I'm going to use the lasso tool. I'm going to come in here. Now I'm going to try to create an error here. Okay. And we'll see if it creates the error. And I'm just going to click generate. Most likely when you're doing small areas, it's going to, a lot of times it's going to give you an error. Okay, it didn't, but it took out that small plane. I don't like this little thing here. So I'm going to take that. We'll see if this gives us the error. I'm just going to click generate. Okay, it didn't take that out. So I can just hit generate again and see if it does it. And if it doesn't, that's something that's pretty easy to clone out or remove or whatever, right? Okay, so it's not doing that. So now I'm just going to take the, I'm going to delete. Okay, so there, that's fixed. So I can delete this layer because I don't like what it did. Okay, and these, I'm just going to merge down. These are the layers where it took the stuff away, you see? And it did great. So that was really, really simple. Now I might come in and use the remove tool to come in here. And let's see if I can take this out here. So if you get, and maybe they fixed that error. If you, yeah, that was pretty simple. The remove tool just is freaking amazing, right? You can just watch how fast it cleans this up. Okay. And I've got remove after each stroke selected. I've got sample all layers. You can turn sample layers off so it doesn't look at the other layers. Because if you got a ton of layers, you may not want to have it looking at every layer because it'll, you know, it'll slow things down. Okay. So we're going to just, oh, you know what? I hit the wrong button. So let me hit enter. Hang on. Let me go back. Okay, let me turn remove after each stroke on. That's what I thought it said sample all, yeah, sample all layers. You can turn that off or on. Okay. So I'm liking where we're headed here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. And as we can see the difference, that was pretty quick just to clean that up. So be thinking about when you're shooting. That's why I wasn't worried about this over here, because I knew I could take that out real easy. So the other thing I'm going to do is come over here and let's just see what it does on this plane. I don't like. Okay, that looked better. Okay, let's just see if it cleans up any of this here. Probably not going to clean too much of that up, but it cleaned up a little bit of it. Yeah, it's not liking that. Okay, that's a little better. I might come in and take out some of those little reflections of the light right there in that red. But as you can see, this is really simple to clean up. It works a lot better than the spot healing or what have you.
Okay. Now, would you take off any of the text to the plane right next to her? Because that's distracting, or would you leave that?
This here and this here.
Mm-hmm.
No, because that's significant to the plane. That's
Okay.
if you didn't have those on there, someone would think that that's not a real plane or something, because by law they have to have those numbers on the tail. So to me, those don't bother me at all. All right. So what I might see here, we got this bright area. Let's just see what happens if I do this. That looks a little better. And we've got a little bit of a line here. So got a little bit of a weird spot there. But I think you can see, and we're talking and interjecting. If I was just sitting in here working, you know, this is really fast. Right? I'm gonna vignette this anyway, but most likely, let's just see what happens here. And let me just see if I can, if that darkens that any at all. And I didn't like that. So we'll worry about that in a little bit. So what I am going to do is I'm going to come in here and just, I'm going to tinker and see what we can do here with these shadows. Okay. And a lot of times you're better doing smaller areas. So let's just come in here. Let me just see what this does, if this evens this out. That looked a little better right there. This little bit of a weird shadow going on right here, right? And to me, that's already looking better. You can come in and while you're here, if you want to touch up, you know, her complexion or what have you. Let's just see if we can. I mean, try to do better than that with your normal touch-up stuff, right? Maybe we got some weird things going on here in her armpit. That looks better. Okay. I'm take a little bit of that shine out. Let me just see. I'm probably not going to like that too much. We'll see. Take a little bit of that shine. I don't want to get rid of it, but we can come back and put some more of that in there. I mean, you saw how fast that is. I mean, that's pretty impressive right there.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what I would do. I like that. This is one of those images where I would not touch the flyaways. Right. Okay. So now let's come in here and let's just see. Let's see. Select. Where is it? Where's my sky replacement? I don't remember where that is. I haven't done that in so long. Where? I'll edit. Where's my sky replacement? So let's click here and we'll just see what skies they have available. Is there any more dramatic skies? This might be cool sky. Let's just see what that does. Are there any other ones that I like? I haven't done a sky replacement. I don't know how long. So let's see. Come in here. She's got some weird stuff going on her in the plane. So, you know, you may have to come in here and let's just find out where that is. So you may have to come in here with a mask and remove that. You know, the brush, the black brush, soft round. Probably should paint on the mask. And let me see. I want to back this down a little bit. Mask. I'll just put a mask on that whole folder. Come in here and paint that off of her. Okay. Take that off the plane right there. Got a little bit of a halo right there. So you got to watch those halos. Okay. I mean, you tell me. I don't think you like that better, or I can, if I feel like it's still around her a little bit, I can make this brush. Maybe I can take the opacity and bring this down quite a bit and just feather this out around her a little bit more. I mean, that sky looks a little more dramatic. You can play around. So I'm probably okay with that. I might feather this a little bit around the plane here just to help reduce any halos or anything that's kind of going on here. You get a little bit more around her here. Okay, so if I like that, now what I'm going to do to edit her So I'm going to save this. I'll just save this PSD here. Okay. And do you remember her name?
Where's my phone? Hold on. That was Natalie.
Okay, so I'll call this Natalie. Natalie.
Yes.
Natalie Plain. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this PSD. But now what I'm going to do, now that I've got it cleaned up, and I could have done this first, but I wanted to see how we did on the remove tool with on the skin and stuff. But I think you'd be honestly, and I don't mean this being a jerk, I think you'd be crazy not downloading the beta and using the remove tool.
Yeah.
It's not always going to work perfect. And this was about as good a situation as I've seen it work in. But I mean, it's ridiculous how fast we sat here and played around with this. And what I would say is, okay, so maybe this is a senior album or senior, and this is maybe the one epic piece that you're doing of her. So you may want to spend a little bit longer on it than your other images, you know? So now I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to flatten the image. I'm going to go to File, Save As. Okay. And I'm going to save this as a JPEG. And I'll tell you, this is where I'm headed, or not headed. This is where I am with editing now. So now I'm going to close this. I'm going to come over here to, and I even think that Sesson is now starting to use Evoto, and he's kind of an anti AI guy. Okay. But AI is already way loaded up inside of Photoshop. Especially are you using Adobe's cloud to save any work or anything like that?
No.
Okay. If and a lot of people do.
Well, again, I'm just old school and I'm scared to change anything.
Right. I get that. Okay. So I created it when I'm in here. And so now I'm going to navigate to the Casey Shootout. I'm going to go in and grab that JPEG because I have to use a JPEG.
Okay.
And I'm going to open her image.
Photo on my list because you talked about that when
it's a game changer. It is beyond a game changer. So we're going to let this load. Okay. And we're going to let it find her. So I don't remember if this was something I saved, but recommended. Let's go high end. Okay. And let me see if I can zoom in.
You said these are all presets that come with it?
Yes. So what we're looking at here. So right now, all of these over here on the left are all presets that come with it. So if you look, here is before and here is after.
Okay.
So it cleaned her up that well. Now I can come over here and I can adjust these. I can change this to a different one. I can go none. So that's how it was. I can go natural. Okay. And you can see the difference. I'm hitting the space bar to show the difference. Natural 2. You get all these different presets. Okay. I'm not disliking what it's doing there. Let's if we want to go to glowing. Now we got kind of a glowy look, you know, and it kind of added it everywhere in the image. I'm not disliking that. But now let's say though we go over here to let me just see what this is. I don't know what this is going to do. I mean, that looks pretty good there too. But if we want to come over here, now we can do all kinds of things. So maybe when we want to take the freckle and acne, we don't want to take away too many freckles. She doesn't have any acne. We have dark circles. I can move this slider over. And that helped a little bit there. Let's see. Well, just watch her chin and see what it does here. See, it brought that little part of her chin up right there. So that's real subtle, but I'm okay with that change. Okay. Skin retouching. Do we want to do more smoothing than what we had? That's totally up to you. That's probably too much for this image, right? Now we can hit the body. Do we want to That looks pretty natural. Skin color, if we wanted to, make her a little bit warmer.
Wow.
Obviously, I don't like that very much to me, but we can change her. We can really get crazy. You can make her brighter here, and then you can make her a little bit warmer there. I'm not sure I dislike that. What are your thoughts?
No, I like that.
I'm a little colorblind, so some of that that's when I call Lori over, and then you can change it. You can warm it up a little bit even more. I mean, I kind of like what it did with her skin there from what I'm seeing. Okay. Then we go eyes. We can make her eyes. I don't know that we need to, but if we need to make her eyes a little bit brighter, you see, I'm doing the extreme, right? That's extreme, just so you can see the difference. Okay. But then watch this here. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's crazy with all it. If we want to change. Okay. So these are all just different makeup looks. Okay. Before and after. Now, if I want to reduce that a little bit, I can.
All right, now I understand your comment of no need for a makeup artist, even though I do feel like it's a part of feeling
it's
pampered.
part of the experience, absolutely. But you can see here, I mean, if we want to, right? And then now we just reduce this down some. I mean, I don't feel like we've really changed the way she looks. We just did her makeup.
Yeah.
That you tell me, you're probably a little more connected to this world than I am, right? Lip color.
Yeah, as long as it still looks like I have problems like with the elongating the chin or changing the body shape or adding things that are like manipulating. And for me, that my everyday client doesn't want that. Like when I do boudoir, I say I don't change anything. I pose you in a way that accentuates you. Like so that's my belief, and I don't want to change anything about her. I want to accentuate her and make her look like she's having the best day ever.
Right. But see, you can do everything here. I mean, look at lipstick. You can change the, and then you can even change the texture of it. That looks like she had Kool-Aid, but
yeah.
So, if you want none, that's fine. Her eyelashes.
What
you see there? You see what that did? Look at the difference there. No eyelashes, eyelashes, none. We can go here. We can get crazy with her eyelashes. Get really crazy with her eyelashes. We can get a little bit more subtle. I kind of like.
If you do something to one image, say that you find what makes you happy on this image, can you copy and paste it on?
Yes, you can save this preset right here, and you're good to go. Contacts. Here's her blush. If you see here, we made a little bit of a look here, or none. I mean, this is just full body reshape. So if let me do this here. Okay, so let's scroll down here. So you can get stupid, but there are clients that want you to do this, right? Okay. Well, you see, we're making her taller, making her head bigger and smaller. Her arms, if you want to make her arms a little bit smaller, you've got clients that want that. I mean, her breasts, you can make them bigger or smaller. And honestly, I get requests more to make them smaller than I do make them bigger.
Yeah.
Waist, we can pull her waist in just a little bit. If we posed her in such a manner that didn't accentuate her waist very good, and her hips, you can see where it is changing it. Leg width, leg length. We want to make our legs longer, that's making everything longer. But as you can see here, I mean, there's just so much facial reach, everything is here, and it'll find individual people. Okay, so I'm okay with. So now let's zoom in here. So here's before, and here's after. I don't feel like that changed her dramatically. So I'm okay with that. So now I can do this. I don't remember what it is, but let me click buy now. Let me see if it comes up.
I was gonna say it pulls up a bunch of credits, which is confusing.
Yeah, so it uses 1 credit per image, I believe.
Okay.
And I don't remember how many I paid for. I paid for so if you buy, if you spend $3,500, which there's somebody that would, right?
Yeah.
Then that gets you each credit costs you 4 cents, a little over 4 cents. So each image that you edit is going to be 4 cents. So, and here's where this would make sense for me when we're doing our Santa images. Well, I can create me a preset, and if I've got, one client, I've got 15 images. So for, so let's just say I came in here and I would probably buy this 9,000 credits right here for $500. So for one client at 6 cents, it's costing me about 70 cents to do all the touch up on their skin and everything. And just run
So
a
how is it for Santa though? How is it? Because what you're doing is does it select each face or does it do it
Yes.
all faces?
You can, yes, but all I would do is I would create something that just does it generic, smooth the skin, reduce I would find something that I feel like would apply to everyone just to give it a basic touch up if I felt like I needed it.
Okay.
Right. So I'm good with that. So here I'm going to say I like that preset. So we're going to call this Natalie. Right. We're going to put this in the senior group. Okay. And we're going to save. So I just saved that preset. So if I do any more of Natalie, now I can use that image. Right. So now it only charges me when I export it. Then it uses one of my credits.
Got it.
So you don't want to export the same image over and over and over. So boom, I'll come in here and do that. Okay, and it's up here. It's somewhere. It must have done it already. So I'll minimize this. Okay. And usually, yeah, so it'll bring it into here. Now I'm going to open this image up. Okay, so now that I've got the image here, now is where I'd come in here and start playing around maybe just a little bit more. So I'm going to zoom in. And do I need to sharpen anything here? I mean, look at her face. Look at that compared to, and remember, we're doing a lot of talking here, right?
Mm-hmm.
The remove tool and evoke tool, there's where we started. And here's where we are now.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's mind-boggling how good. Okay, so there. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm having a hard time not loving this whole process. So now the only thing that I would do is now let me show you something that is really cool. This is where I'm landing right now with dodging and burning. I'm going to take a blank layer. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this I just always do it. Okay. I'm going to take a blank layer. I'm going to put it in soft light. I don't know if have you ever heard of dodging and burning in this method?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess it's something that's become more and more popular. Right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and with a black brush. And I'm going to see what kind of, is that doing much? It's not doing enough for me. So I'm going to come in here. And depending on how much time I have and want to spend on this image to make her really pop, and maybe I need to bring that opacity up a little bit more, right? I would come in here and hit definitely these washed out areas where the light washed out the deal. And I'm just using a soft brush just to. Now I might want to even come in here. So let's try this. Okay. Boom, remove. Let's see what's going on here. Let's just see if it'll fix that little hot spot right there. I mean, it's not bad.
Mm-mm.
I'd probably leave that like that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that did pretty good. It definitely took I think it helped. How do I say that? So when I'm editing like this, or I'm talking with you guys, or I'm talking to a client, I probably wouldn't say it like this, but You don't want the attention to go right to, her boob or her nipple, that's where that hot spot was. So you really don't want that. And now I see this over here. So I just see something I didn't like. I'm going to take the remove tool. I'm going to come in here. I mean, how good is that? That's just
Really
freaking
good.
ridiculous. I mean, how long did it used to take us to just, how many times playing around to get something like that right? Okay, so now I would spend time coming in here and hitting all of these dark parts on this dress. I might even have to turn this up even more just because, and maybe some of them aren't supposed to be all that dark. I don't know. You're probably more of a dress girl than I am.
Well, I think some of them are on the underlayer and they aren't supposed to be.
Okay.
So the top ones are, but there are some that are on the second layer that are.
Okay. So maybe I'll just go in and bring in some of these other ones then randomly. But I don't know. I like the contrast because to me, with these things, it just makes it pop, that's just me. So we'll come in here and I'll back off this a little bit, but this, I would spend a little bit of time. So once we get that going, I would come in here and dodge and burn. I would definitely hit this strap over here. Okay. And then I would look and see, do I want to come in here and do I want to, come on, brush tool. I would probably come in here a little. And her eyes did seem a little washed out to me. Okay. And then I might, I may come in here, and what I would probably do here, Brooke, is get a different brush. Probably come in here with, let me just see if this one, that's probably not it. Just to give her a little more pop in the hair, I would find a hairbrush like, that's probably not it either. Where's one of my hairbrushes that I like? Oh, they're in a folder up here called hair. Okay. That's not it. Yeah, this one here. So I would come in here and play around a little bit with, and if it's not doing it, oh, dang it, it picked a mixer brush. Stop it.
Oh, I was like, I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't either. So let me just go back here. I saw it doing a little bit, but it selected it as a mixer brush. And let's see. Now let's go back. Okay, there we go. So now so you can come in and make this brush whatever size you want. Let me just make sure it's doing it. Yes. Okay. At 100% it is. But I would definitely come in here and put some more contrast in her hair. And so maybe I just need to, and sometimes it's just like this. You just play, you try different brushes, but none of those are working. So I'm just going to go back to my soft round. Okay. And that definitely worked, right? So now I'm going to bring this down. And I'm just going to come in here and find some of those dark areas. To bring in some of that darkness to create some dimension and depth, especially out in here where this is flying, right? Some of these areas here, just dodging and burning, creating. And this isn't much different than painting. Do you use the R feature to turn your image to work on it?
I do not.
Okay. For you don't paint on your screen though, do you?
No.
Yeah. So painting on the screen, what happens, you can't see me, but if I'm needing to get to an area over here, then to do it in my hand, not be in the way, I've got to bring my elbow way up in the air, to draw. Kind of weird. So it's easier for me. You've got your hand on your desk, so your hand's always staying in the same place, but still it can be easier. like if you were painting if we were painting a rim light on her arm here, instead of you having to do it with your pen that direction, side to side, coming down this way, you know, it may be easier to come in here and move the arm this way. Then you're just going straight up and down versus sideways. It's just that's a good habit to get into, is learning how to rotate your screen.
I'm also not working on a stylus, so don't yell at me yet.
Oh, you're working with a mouse?
Yes,
Oh,
because I'm spending this amount of time on each of my, again, I'm doing more mass things in
Right.
Lightroom, just going into Photoshop and just touching up like small things.
Right. Well, if I wasn't talking, I feel like I could get this image done, you know, a lot faster. So you see, I'm dodging and burning, but you're going to get the stylus working with a pen is going to make you faster. Okay,
Shannon has said that many, many times as well. So
yeah, and now I'm just going to come in here and put in some highlights in her hair, right? So we'll go back out here and look and see what it does. But it depends also on, you know, I'm not going to go to this much work on a client that's spending, you know, $500 or $600 on 25 images. Okay. But now look, to me, that looks better. No, it's not a lot of it, but it creates more depth in the image with that.
okay.
And then I may continue. Then I would just come in here and I would probably come in and go ahead and at least hit the darks on this dress here. Okay.
And this is still on your soft light layer, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I'm using a black brush and I'm at 14%. Okay. And then I might go ahead and darken under her arm a little bit there. Maybe come in and darken a little bit here. Sometimes if you darken some of this areas, maybe darken just a little bit there. That may be too much. Okay, that's fine. If I need to, I can take the eraser tool, bring that down a little bit. Let's take a little bit of that off. You know, if I wanted to maybe give her a little bit more of a shadow side here, I can. Now, the only thing that I see that stands out, her eyes are really dramatically two different sizes. You know, I don't know if I would want to try to open this eye up a little bit more or not, or do I want to play with, you know, if I'm doing this for, oh, come on, I did the wrong layer. Let me turn this off for a second. Hang on. You know, I might play around and see if I could come in here and put this eye, you know, and make it fit and see what happens. That can be really tough because it can make them look almost cross-eyed. Yeah, so that eye is going to make her look cross-eyed if you do it. You could go into liquify and pull down some areas. You got to make sure that this is the iris and everything stays the same. But she dramatically has two different size eyes, and she probably knows it. So it's probably not that big a deal. Let's turn this on. But to me, you can definitely see a difference in the dodging and burning. We're creating more depth, and she pops a little bit more. I would probably even, you know, I probably spend a lot more time. I know I do. I spend a lot more time dodging and burning now than I used to. I just really feel like it makes a big difference in the image. Let's come in here. To me, it looks like I've got a little bit of a color shift going on there. I'm not too worried about it in the concrete. Just trying to get, and I probably should do that. It'll lower extra here. like if it gets too splotchy, we can mess with that. I don't know that I really like what I was doing there, so I'll just erase it. I should probably erase it with a soft brush, not a hard brush. So maybe I'll come back over here and let's see what this does. See if this makes it look any better there. Well, that didn't look any better, did it? So, okay, so we'll just take that out. We'll just do it with a vignette.
And how are you doing your vignette?
Yeah, my vignette is really simple. I just do a curves layer. Oh, I bet. Oh, you know what? I wonder if Nicole just joined us. Nicole, did you think that this was West Coast time?
What was that?
Did you think we were West Coast time?
I didn't know what time.
Okay, so we're kind of halfway winding up. So Brooke, this come on, I guess I should use a black brush, not a.
Sorry, I missed it. Yeah, you created a blank layer and went.
I just did a curves layer. Yeah, so here this is the way I do a vignette. I just go to curves, boom, pull it down a little bit, right? And then I just take a black brush and remove it where right?
Huh.
That's how I do a vignette. So I can tell you the only thing I don't like about the sky replacement, and I don't see it. So what we may need to do, I'm going to show you what I don't like, and I'm going to fix it real quick. So I feel like we've got a little bit of a halo going around her head.
Yep.
But I feel like the reason it's there is just because those clouds are dark right around her head, not because there's an actual halo. So what I may do is just come in here, right? And I'll darken. Let me bring this up a little bit more. So let's just bring in some more of this darkness on the sky around her. Because we got it right there. It seems really dark, or I don't know that hurts too much doing some of this like this. Then we'll just back out and look at it and see if we like it or not. And if it's too much, then I'll just take the eraser tool. I'll drop it down to about 10%, and I'll start backing away on some of that there. And if I want to, I could come in with my dodge and burn, and now I could lighten some of it. Okay, and got to be careful because you'll end up really accentuating the halo. So I didn't like where I added that. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, so that doesn't, I don't dislike that too much. If I really wanted to, we could take that out and work on it some more by selecting the subject, like that. I still think we could probably do a little more dodging and burning on her hair, but I'm kind of indifferent to that. So now the only thing that I might do is I may take, if I've got this where I like it, I'm going to merge these two layers, and I might take it into camera raw, and just now I may play with it a little bit here. So I can if I want to open it up here, maybe bring up contrast a little. Now I might bring up the texture and the clarity a little bit more. Okay. Maybe bring the vibrance up a little bit more. Click OK. Click OK. Click OK. So we gave it a little more punch to it, but then I might take and put a mask on that and I'm going to take this off of her skin because I really don't want to add that. It'd probably be a good idea if I painted on the layer mask, though, wouldn't it?
Might help.
Well, come on. Did I hit that? Okay, there. Okay, so I'm going to just feather that here. Okay. And then the last thing that I would do on this image, if I wanted, I could do a couple of things. So this is something that I'm just kind of starting to play with a lot. Is kind of creating kind of color grading. So you've got let me back up so I didn't say it. So
I was gonna say, what layer are you on now?
yeah, so let me show you. Let me delete, hang on, let me delete this. Okay, so this is really cool. This is called LUTs or lookup tables. So I come down here and I go to my whatever this is called. Can't remember it. And I go to color lookup, and I've downloaded a bunch. Now I'm going to click here, and you see all of these here. I've had a bunch more installed. You can find a bunch of them out there. I don't know why they're not saved in here. You know what? Let me do this. Let me save this image because I think I got them in my other version of Photoshop. Let me save this PSD file. So I think I've got a whole bunch of other ones.
And this is in the beta version?
No, lookup tables have been around for a while.
Okay.
They're pretty cool. So let's let this save. I'm going to close this. So Natalie, are you there? Not Natalie. Nicole, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
So here's what we started with.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, and you can see we've got some weird shadowing and stuff going over here from the kicker light or what have you. And then this is where we are now, where we've cleaned her up and everything. Okay. So I think she's looking pretty good. So we're going to close this. We're going to close this, and we're going to close this. And we're going to close beta. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to go to bridge, or hang on right here. And I'm going to open with, and I'm not going to pick beta. I'm going to pick my other version of Photoshop. Okay, so now I'm going to come down over here to my, what's this called? Adjustment layers. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a color lookup, and I'm going to click here, and look, I've got all of these in here, all these different things that I downloaded, right? So I don't know which one I want to use. We could go click that night from day and see what it does. Okay, like, ooh, that looks nasty, but understand you can also play with how much of it you want, right? Let's say, well, I definitely don't like that one, so I'm going to delete that, but I'll do it again. Okay, color lookup. LUTs is what this is called. So let's just, let me see what some titles. Let's go with fall colors. Okay. Now I can take this and I can reduce the opacity of it. There's lots of things that I can do here. I could take it off of her skin. If I like that warmness of it, that's fine. Let's look at some other ones over here. Just see if we can find one. It's a little, I've got to figure out a way to have a better, oh, come on. Hit the wrong button. Got to see if there's a better way to get a, to have a better idea of what things are going to look like. Maybe crisp and warm. I don't remember what all of these were. These were, I think, some kind of vintagey looking things that I downloaded that I liked.
Where are you downloading them from?
I don't remember which site I found these on, but you can just do, you know, so there's a kind of a cool look, right? I mean, we're getting away from the color. I kind of do like the color, but you can reduce the opacity of this. You can always play with your blend modes. So I could put this in soft light, you know, and see what it does. And so if that's, you know, then back this down to maybe, I don't know, there. That gave it a little more punch to me. I don't know that I love it. You know, I don't know. That's, hang on, did I open the right one? Yeah, I guess I did. Something does not seem right here, does it? Hang on. Let me close this. Let me go back to bridge. That did not seem like. Ah, I was thinking that's not the, oh crap. Sorry, I just opened it in beta. Let me close it. I was like, that didn't look like the final image that we were working with. Okay, so let's go back to here. So let's take this. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to delete this one. Okay, then I'm going to go back over to here. back over to here. We're going to move this to PSD folder. Okay, now that's the one. Now I'm going to open with this here. Okay, so this is the one. So now we'll do the color lookup table. Let's just see what one of these other ones looks like, just for grants, right? This is a good thing just to play around. So that's, I mean, that's not a bad look with that plane, right?
Mm-mm.
I don't dislike that if we're not to go that kind of dimension. But here we've actually got two of them on here. So I don't know. That one doesn't seem to be doing anything. Let's toss that one. Then you can always adjust the opacity. You can put it in a different blend mode. And so if we put it in soft light, we can bring it down a little bit. You know, that's not horrible. So I would say, you know, play around with these. I'll try to see if I can remember. I can give you all of these too. Let's just see what this one does. And I don't know the different versions here. Okay, so that's just, I think this is more of these are more vintage. I found a site that had some free vintage ones and downloaded them to play with.
Those would look good with the older pilot guy, I think.
What's that?
Those would look really nice with the
Yeah,
older.
I agree. That really would. So now that we're kind of here though, here's the one thing I do want to do. I'm going to crop this. Okay. And we're going to flip this. I'm going to clear this. Then I'm going to come up here. So what I may want to do on this, just so I know, 30 inches times 15. Okay, I get it. Don't quit yelling at me. 15 inches. So I'm going to crop it to a size that I know I can at least order that size, right? Instead of just doing my own. Now here in studio, I can do my own because I can print it and mount it whatever size I want. But I kind of like putting her right here in this third like this. Okay. Then the last thing that I might do, I don't know. What do you think, Brooke? You like that one, and maybe do we need to warm her up a little bit? This is how I would warm it up a little.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something like putting a photo filter on it that warmed it just a little bit. So let's just say we like this, right? Come on, leave me alone. Stop. Let's do this. I'll move my vignette back up here on top. I may want to play with that vignette a little bit. Let me see. Come on. There we go. Okay, and pull this down a little bit more. Now I can take my brush, a black brush. And then the only other thing I might want to try to do here, I'm just going to play with this. Is something that I do on a lot of my images. I duplicated all those layers. Now I'm going to go to filter, other, high pass, put it somewhere around 21, click OK, hit Command I to invert it, and then put that in soft light mode. And it's just going to create a little bit more of a dreamy kind of feel to it. That's something that you just, I don't know if it works on this image or not. That's for you guys to decide. So we can
you
now
go over those steps one more time? You duplicate. Sorry.
Yeah, so what I did was everything but the let me turn this off. Everything except the vignette, right? So if I like these color lookup tables and honestly, I don't know that I really like this color lookup table. It almost made it too contrasty to me. That's just my thought. So let me see what it looks like without that. Okay. And I'm not even sure I love what we did in camera raw. See, that made it a little bit gritty. If we want to keep this kind of light and airy, right? We may chunk that away. And this is where I'm just kind of playing. Now, the other thing that might be cool, I don't know, we'll see. Okay, that I'm okay with that dodging and burning. Let me change this to dodge and burn.
All right, can you just like where you made it look dreamy? You did
Yeah,
look
yeah, I'm gonna do that. So,
Sorry.
no, you're good. What I'm gonna do first though is let me see if. Hang on. What I wanted to do before I did that is I just wanted to play and do something else real quick. Let's see, find a color here. I don't want one of these really cool looking warm colors. It's in the background. Okay, let's just see what that does. Okay. I'm just thinking out here loud here. So let's just do this. Okay, and then let's take and go from. I'm just going to see what this does, if we like it, right? Kind of a little flare coming in or something there, just to give it a little bit more of a glowy kind of look. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I'd do a lower opacity, but yeah, I think
I like a little bit of it. It kind of. Okay, so let's just say we like that, right? I'm going to crank it up just a little bit more. Let's pretend we like that. We'll turn it down a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I got my warming filter. I felt like it needs that too. So now I'm going to select all the. I'm not going to select my vignette. So I'll select all of these layers. Then I duplicate them by hitting Command J on a Mac. And then I merge them together by hitting Command E. Okay. And now this is just going to kind of be a diffusion, I guess is what you would call it. I go to Filter, Other. I go to High Pass. And my setting is usually around 21. You can play with yours. And I click here. Then I invert this layer by hitting Command I. And then I go to change it to soft light mode. Okay. And it creates this kind of this dreamy, I don't really want to say painterly feel. Now I can put a mask on it. I can put a mask. Gosh, the buttons aren't working. And now if I want, I can take it off of her a little bit. Mostly her face and stuff. But it kind of creates a nice softness to the image overall. You can turn this up and down as much as you want. It kind of gives it a little bit of a dreamy feel. So the only thing that I'm not loving about this image, like I said, Brooke, the only thing that's got me held back on it a little bit is I still feel like the way these clouds are around here, we're getting a little bit of a haloing look.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could spend quite a bit of time fixing that. I mean, probably the way I would do it would be just turn this off, turn that off. I would probably come in here, leave the dodge and burning if I wanted to turn that off. Probably the way I would try to do it first would be, let's say, duplicate that layer. And then I would come in here to hit my selection tool and I would hit select subject. And let's see if it finds her. It may try to find the plane too. Yeah, it didn't do a very good job. So what we would have to do is come in here. If this was going to be a piece that we were going to really work on, you know, we would have to come in here and make a good selection on her. And to be honest, what I would do, this goes back to, you know, cutting people out. I don't do that anymore. I can, I just don't want to do it. I would probably send this image to India and for $2, tell them, hey, I need a layer where she is completely cut out, her hair and everything, right? For $2. And then I would finish it the next day. But so if I did this, okay, that's good enough. Now I can, let me get a little bit more of her hair here. And double check her ear. Get more of her hair up in here. That's looking pretty good there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can clean it up over here a little bit more. So now I'm going to go to select. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this selection. And I'm going to call it Natalie upper body. So when I save that selection, now if I accidentally unselect it, oh crap, now I can just go to select, load selection. I can click here and I can click here. And now I've got that selection back. Okay, so now I don't have to reselect it every time. So now I can go to select, inverse. Okay, and then now I can come in here if I want to go back to my dodge and burn layer, and I can take my brush tool. I turn that layer on, and now if I want to go with my white brush, you know, now I can come in here and let's just see if I can come in here and start messing with that halo that was kind of around her here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You feather that out. You want to make sure, oh, so here's a tip right here. If you notice here, what we want, when this is on, you see this little right here. So when we go to brush settings, that is our shape dynamics. We want to turn that on. We don't want anything on that brush. Because if you look, shape dynamics, when you have that on, the brush tends to go more into a texture. So you actually want it, you want it off.
Okay.
So now it's going to be more, it's not going to have as much of a fine tip to it. So we'll just see if we can lighten some of these clouds over here on this side of what's going on here. I don't know if that's better or not. We got some weird stuff going on with that one cloud. So I would probably come in here and clone it. See, there's some weird circle things going on here that make it that I really don't think it's a halo, but it sure makes it seem like it is, you know. So I'm gonna change, I'm gonna get the clone tool and I'll put it in lighten, and I'll come over here and try to get that where it doesn't look like it's as much of a circle going around her head or what have you. I'm probably making it worse there. Bring this down a little bit. Back into normal. Let's see if I can bring a little bit of darkness back up and down into here somewhere. not liking this here. So let's take this and make that cloud look a little more continuing, like it's continuing. I got a little bit of that on her hair. We're going to do that. Maybe that's a little better in here. Still think we got a little bit of haloing, and that's a little better, I think. I'm probably going to have to, nope. And we'll take more of that. Take this completely off of her skin and stuff. I'm not sure why any of it is there, because we. What is going on with my brush? Why is my brush not working? It's really weird. My brush isn't working for some reason. Okay, there we go. That's all. That's just a creative thing right there. If you want to add any of this softness to it. Well, I liked adding the little bit of the flare. And then we can turn the vignette back on, turn this on. And so that's probably a basic edit for me. Probably the only other area, if I was really wanting to spend a lot of time on it, I might work on darkening this up here a little bit more. Right. And we can try that if we want. Just softening this over here a little. And that got a little bit too dark right there, right? I'll just bring that back up a little bit. And maybe darken it right to here a little bit by her dress. Any questions on that? I think you see some there. The only, if I wanted to spend more and more and more time, I may come in and dodge and burn the plane a little bit more. Just depends on how much time you want to spend on it. Any thoughts? Anything you like, anything you don't like? You're not going to hurt my feelings.
No, I like it a lot. It's just a process looking at it. Like the one that you did before was very saturated, so I could see that like on a acrylic or something looking really good.
Yes.
But then I like the other color overlay, like the vintagey look for more like the older gentleman. Like,
yeah. So let me save this. Okay, so then let's just do that real quick. Let's just for grins, because we got about 10 minutes. I would stay longer, but we actually have to go with Mary and Rob so let's just take this. Look at the develop module. Let me see where I haven't done anything to this. So let me cover here. Let me go here. I'm not going to worry about his skin. That doesn't bother me. I'm going to bring the warmth up in the image a little bit. Okay. Where is it? Let me see. One of the things I have not played with much. Where is the gradient? It's not it. There used to be up there, I think. Is that it? Can I come up this way? Yeah. Okay, so let's take, oh, come on. Where'd you go, Lightroom? Good grief. Let me close this. Okay, let me close this. Come on, Lightroom. Where did you go? I had that turned off forever. So now so that's just a linear gradient, right? On there that I did. So
Mhm.
just to kind of darken some of that area there. And I still would like to more. So let's do that. Okay, now here, that's fine. Okay, now I'm going to export this. Put it in that folder. Export. Okay. Let's see if we can do a really fast edit on this one. Okay, so now let's go here. Let's go here. Okay. I'm going to duplicate the layer. I'm going to grab my lasso tool real quick. I'm going to I'm going to hit generative fill. I'm going to generate. Let's see if it'll remove that pretty quick. Looks like my horizon's not very straight either. He's flying uphill. Okay, boom. I like that. How quick was that?
Now, when you would do this like on multiple images, would it do the same generative fill? So if you're trying to match, like
no, but you could save. You could save that layer and see what it does. But no, it's going to do it random. It's going to do it random every time. So I'm going to drop a line on here. Take this. I should have straightened this before I brought it into Photoshop. But boom, we got here, got here. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate this one more time. I'm going to go to filter, camera raw. Okay, I'm just going to make some. I'm going to open up this a little bit more. Open up this. From here, I'm going to bring up now on his skin. I don't mind his skin being a little crunchy, you know, because he's an older guy, you know. I think it's going to look pretty cool. Right there. Let's go. Now let's come down here and let's do our let's do a LUTs on this. We'll do a color lookup. Oh crap. Nope. We're going to save this because I'm in the wrong one.
why does it have to be non-beta version?
Because I never loaded those into beta. I just didn't import them.
So it's in there. It's just, you don't have your preset.
Yeah, I don't have the presets. It's
Okay.
it's absolutely it's there. I just don't. I haven't installed them. I mean, I could. And why are we not saving? It takes me longer to open and close images than it does to edit images. Okay, so let me just go here. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Color lookup. Click here. No, I can't remember exactly how to do those, so I would need to look at that later. Did I save that? I thought it saved, but I want to save it. Okay, so I see a sensor spot that I need to clean. Not a big deal. Okay. Here, Nicole, are you still there? Did she leave? No,
No,
I'm
I'm
wondering
here.
if. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is we were talking about different versions of Photoshop. So this tool is. Oh, you know what? So it's not. Is it going to let me use that tool? No. So that's what's really weird. Mac has something running, and I've got to figure out what it is. It's weird. It works on beta, but that tool does not work for some reason on my the remove tool does not work. See here, it's not letting me use it. It has to do with, I forget, it's something that's running in the background that and you can see Brooke right there, how that one didn't do a very good job. That's with our traditional tool versus the remove tool, but I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to go to here. We're going to go to color lookup, and now we're going to load these here, and we'll just pick a random one. I mean, that's not too bad. Let's see if we just pick another one. Just like that one either. Let's see what we got. Royal. Well, I kind of like that. I don't know what it did, but
Oh, I like that one too.
when you got all three of these on here together, I don't know which one was the latest one, probably this one. Yeah, those aren't doing anything. I think that's pretty doggone cool right there.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a super fast edit. If we want to put a vignette around it, just a small one, that'll help pop the sun a little bit, right? You know, let's just go crazy here. Okay. Sun come in a little bit more over here. We'll get a little bit more light on him. And I'm kind of digging that.
I like it a lot.
The only thing that I might do really fast, let's just see if I can do it and it looks okay. Let's just try this and see. You know what? Let's do it this way. Let's see. What I'm doing is just seeing if I can feather this in here, right? So we take out a little bit of that bright spot that's going on right there. Take the edge away. I think that's a little better.
Mhm.
Taking that out. We probably would know. No one else is going to notice it, right? That it's maybe take just a touch more of it out right here.
Why would you do that versus your dodging and burning?
Because it's easier to get the pattern. So as soon as you dodge and burn, I feel like there's a color shift that sometimes happen in dodging and burning, and it's hard for me to see that. If you can see that there's no color shift, then great. But for me, I have to do things sometimes not knowing if something's going to happen. Just experience tells me that if I try and dodge and burn that I'm going to get a color shift.
Okay.
And I can't see the color shift. So, but if you choose to dodge and burn it, then by all means dodge and burn it, because you'll notice the color shift and be able to tweak it, right? But I can't. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going in and bringing out a little bit of bringing the plane out a little bit. Right, just because all that stuff's important to these guys that are playing it like that. And now, that's a quick edit. I would say we're done. We're good enough. That's a good thing about shooting these older guys like this. He's not going to care. You want to see, if anything, I want to see more of that texture and grit on his skin. It helps tell the story of him.
Yeah.
But I would still come in here and in any place there's these shadows, I would definitely come in here and dodge and burn. I might even dodge and burn his face. I might even accentuate some more of these wrinkles and stuff on him, just to create more depth in the image. So don't underestimate the value of dodging and burning. Just to create, yeah, especially like in these shadow parts of his hands right in here, you could come in and right here, it would really make his, because what have his hands done? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I would really love to come in here and spend some real good quality time dodging and burning all of this here, dodging, burning his patch. Coming in here and doing this just to give it more interest and depth. I think when that was just a couple of seconds. Well, I don't see a lot of change right here, but you spend enough time on here, especially then if you come in here and you start hitting some of these highlights in here. It'll really make a difference. I can't tell you how much dodging and burning sets an image off. So I don't know. I'm kind of digging that.
Yeah.
So we're going to save this one. Let's see, where are we? Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple of real quick edits. If this is bothering me right here, that's a really quick fix, right? Mark these down. I could see where that's just, I'm going to put normal. So I'm going to just do that here. Now I'm going to come in here and touch that up a little bit. As soon as you start to clone it though, you start to lose that. It starts to get muddy and mushy because unless you do a hard brush, but because you're doing a soft edge, as it clones over, it clones in a real soft manner and you lose a lot of that texture. So, all right. But I kind of like what's going on here. Then if we wanted to, just if you wanted to keep playing, bring it back into camera raw. And you can even crank up more of the clarity and more of you can do the dehaze, bring in the texture. You can just keep playing and playing and playing and playing. Just see if that did anything to give it any, that gave it a little bit more grit. See the difference? Almost a little bit over sharpened. The only thing I don't like is it starts to accentuate some halos or whatever. And we got a little bit of haloing going under his legs here. So that might be something we want to pay attention to. I think the vignette is causing that. So why don't we remove that? So I'll save these. Where's that put? If you want, I will save these in the student folder. Yeah, that helped get rid of some of that. We'll just get rid of a little bit of that right there. Still a little bit of, and I think that, I wonder if that haloing is just there naturally. Where did we introduce that haloing? Maybe right there. But then that's getting pretty picky looking at those halos there around his legs, but that does bother me a little bit. So I'll probably come in and dodge and burn like we did here. Y'all see where I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that's getting kind of nitpicky. But if I was gonna, and I'll probably do that, I'll probably finish this piece and I'll fix that, those halos there. I'm just gonna try this here, just see what it does. It's going counter to what we normally do, but this will probably be a piece that I will just finish this one and give it to them. Let me see something. So if I just put this in soft light mode, it does the opposite. You see how it made it real crispy and crunchy?
Mm-hmm.
But then when I invert it, or when I invert it, it gives it that glow. And so maybe we want to, I don't know if I like that glow in this image. It almost made it look too muddy to me. So anyway, but I'll finish this image and I'll create a print and send it to them. But I think I definitely want to finish or fix. The only thing I see that I really could fix, I could make this look a little bit better in this corner. It just looks a little bit muddy and stuff where we fix that and then fix the halos. maybe dodge and burn. So what I would probably do is spend some more time coming back in here, getting picky and dodging and burning on the plane. You know, come in here and see if I can get that to show up. Is it showing up? A little bit. So I would spend a fair amount of time just coming in here and highlighting, you know, some of these areas on the plane, parts of the engine, just because I feel like that's, you know, if he's the guy that takes care of it, that's important to him. Those are the things that he looks at. And who knows, I may send this off to him and he may hate it because it doesn't show the true color of the plane. He may like that better, you know. I don't know. We can always pull it down. We can pull it down into something like this. All I did was put those all in a group. And now I can adjust the opacity of all of them as a whole versus 100% versus here. I'm not disliking that right there. But I probably ought to take my, let's put my vignette here. Now I can play with none of that. I can go to all of it. I mean, I like that vintage look of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and don't
It
forget,
looks really nice.
last thing I'll do, see if I've got anything over here. You know, I know I've got something over here. I'm sure I do somewhere. We've all done this a million times, but I don't know that I've got one handy that I really like. You know, is there some kind of texture we can toss over it to? Let's see what I've got. Let's see. Oh, I need to reorganize this stuff. What's in here? Yeah, so let's just see if we drag this over here. Come on. Why is that? My Photoshop don't be changing on me every 10 minutes. Put that into soft light mode. And back off of it a little bit. It gives a little bit of a grainy kind of textury feel to it. That's just, like I said, just kind of playing around. So I didn't love that one. Okay. Any questions on that stuff?
Mm-mm.
So I'll save this to the cloud, but Nicole, I think the biggest thing we took away here from might be you want to jump on downloading the Photoshop beta and start using it, because that's where
I have beta. I'm having a hard time with the generative fill. Mine look like straight out of like a horror film. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Well, when I'll save this and get you a link to it. To me, I'm not adding elements with generative fill. I agree. It does some weird things. I've yet to add something and it be good. For me, what the generative fill is really, really good at is removing things. That's where you want to, that's where you really want to grab a hold of it, is use it to remove things. I think, Brooke, we saw that today, how good a job it did at removing unwanted elements in the image. So let me just, Rob, I'm going to pull up this one more image and show them something real quick, and then we'll be ready to go. It's about a 30-minute drive, so we're good. Let me just, I want to try one thing while I've got y'all here. So let me find my favorites here.
Yeah.
So let's,
The shopping thing that's going on up just on the other side of the square,
let me see.
where they do like open air vendors and stuff like that.
So is that happening on the
Yeah,
square?
or you get on the other side of the square.
It's, oh, is it over here? There's a farmer's market that's going on.
No, it was as we came down to the Virginia.
Okay, that may be.
It was on the left side of the street before we got.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what's going on there today. They do different things
I was
there.
gonna ask if that was-
Sorry, I'm trying to find some images where we were. I'm going to show you where the generative fill could really come in handy. It was the last day and yeah, it was when we were in here. So let me come along in here. Okay, so here's a good one. So let's do this one. I'm going to export this real quick. Okay, so let me share my screen. Sorry, I forgot I was not sharing my screen. Did I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so just real quick, I'm gonna go here. So where I would use the where I would play with the generative fill first. And this is who's standing right here in front of me. So I would come in here, duplicate the layer, and then I would come over here, take my lasso tool, and let's just see what happens when we do this. Who knows? This might be pretty complex. And just hit generative fill and hit generate. Don't type anything in it. We're going to try it this way and see what happens.
Oh, yeah, so it's Sunday, 11 to 6. No, 11, Saturday.
I mean, it put stuff there, but it definitely took the people out. It had, I mean, what it put there is better than what was there, right?
Yeah. You
And
still have
so-
your reflection on the floor a little bit though. Like,
Yeah. Let's see.
I mean, it's not perfect, but yeah, it's better.
Yeah. So it actually added the reflection. If you look, it added the reflection from whatever that little vending machine is there. So kind of interesting. So now we'll try, I don't know. Yeah. And now my remove tool has quit working. Hang on. Let's see. Here we go. So let me just see what happens if we use the remove tool. Let's just take this little guy out right here. Let's see what happens. I mean, that's pretty good. Okay, let's take out that shadow right there, or reflection. Let's see if we can take these people out right here.
Moms and dads.
I don't know what that is. That's weird. So as you can see, cleaning this up, it may not be perfect, and you may notice something, but I can tell you this: taking these people out, whatever it's replacing them with, people aren't going to really notice what that is. That's still a little bit weird right there. That's a little better. And who knows? We'll see what it does if I try to take this out.
Yeah.
It just kind of puts something else in its place. But anyway, as you can see, this is where the generative fill does a good job to me,
Oh, yeah.
right? So to me, there's good enough reason right there to have the beta version to fix that stuff. Any questions?
Mm-mm.
Might as well
No,
save
I-
this, huh? Okay. All right. I'm not sure. I'll have to look on the calendar and I'm not sure we're here again. If you have any questions, just shoot me a message. I'll post those 2 images in the group later. And then I'll share the link to this. Probably just as easy to share the link in the group for this here as well. So. Okay, guys,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Have a great weekend.
You.
And do let me know. And if y'all don't mind, also share me a link, any images y'all took of Rob and Mary that are in front of in this scene right here. If you don't mind sharing those with me,
Okay.
so I can look at those. You don't have to share all of them. Just pick out, a few of the good ones. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, all right,
Thank
y'all have a
you.
great weekend.
Thanks
You.
you as well.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. See, how do I end that? Oh, hang on.